How much savings should I have at this point in my life? That's the magical question, right? That's what we all want to know. We want someone to tell us the answer to that. Hi, I'm Camille Gaines. That's what I'm going to be talking about in this video. Here and on my website at retirecertain.com, I write about investing for the past 40 years and also about creating alternative income streams over the last 15 years after my husband and I stumbled into early retirement. In this video, though, I want to talk about that feeling or that knowing and wondering about how much I should have saved by this certain point in my life. We all can get caught up in that and feel like that someone has the answer. But what I'm going to tell you is the only person that has the answer is you. I can't answer that question for you. No one can answer that question for you. We can look and see how much other people have saved by age, and I may even do another video on that. But that really doesn't have that much to do with how much we as individuals need to save by a certain age. And I'm going to step you through how you can see how much you need to save in order to live the way that you want. And I'm also going to spend a little time telling you why this is so different from one person to the next. If this information interests you, make sure you subscribe to my channel, click that little bell so you know when I post new videos. The very first thing that I want to mention about all of this is what determines how much you should have saved is as individual as anything can possibly be. We hear about those little snowflakes that no two snowflakes are alike, right? Well, it's the same with how much money you should have. And that's because it depends on the lifestyle that you want to live. That's the very first thing. There are other things, but the lifestyle you want to live, for example, if you're in New York City, it's going to be completely different than if you're in my hometown of Tupelo, right? Where it costs very little to live versus it costs a lot to live in New York City. So that's one huge factor. Where do you want to live? The next thing is, how old are you? Are you retired? Do you want to retire? When do you want to retire? So that's a huge factor. Someone that wants to retire early around age 50, which is what ended up happening to us, that's completely different from someone that wants to work until they're 65, because the person that's 65 will have those more years of guaranteed income or supposedly guaranteed, close to guaranteed income, where they're able to invest, save, they've got a predictable pattern going there of investing money, saving money, and investing money. And the other factors are, how is your health? Do you foresee being able to work for considerably longer? A lot of people, it's hard for them to work because of health issues nowadays. So what kind of health are you in? We like working. We consider ourselves sort of retired because we did sort of retire early, but we ended up creating these alternative income streams. So we work from home and we do different things to manage our income streams, but some people don't want that. So it all depends on what you want, and that all affects how much money you should have at any certain age or stage in your life. So let's step through the things that you can look at to know how much you should have saved by where you are now. The very first step is to decide what you want. It seems like it would be numbers and all that. And we're going to look at numbers next. But the main thing is to decide what you want in your life. We're all conditioned to believe that we have to cut back, we have to, settle for as we get older, we have to do without the things that we finally have time to do in our lives. I'm here to tell you that's not really true, because that's not really what happened to us, because, well, we sort of refused to settle. We're stubborn in that way, I guess, but you really don't have to. You can decide what it is that you want to have in your life and create a plan and create income streams and plan your money around that. And part of that is where you are now and how much you have saved. So when you know what it is that you want, lifestyle-wise, like I was talking about earlier, and where you want to live and all of that and how much longer you want to work, Then you can take your current expenses and look at them and adjust them accordingly. I think you'll probably say, yeah, we don't really need that. I don't care about that. Or we don't really need this big house. Let's downsize. Or we would really, really like to do this, but we're too afraid to do it or spend the money on it. We've always wanted to do it, but we're afraid to spend our money because we feel like we need to save our money and we don't have enough saved. So when you define what it is you want and you look at what you're spending now and then adjust it for those things you really, really want, that's your foundational piece. That's your income goal. That's your number that you're working toward. Because remember, no matter how much money you have saved, if you don't have the income, if it's not either generating income or you don't have some sort of income, you can't pay for your lifestyle that you want. So when you've done this first step, you'll know how much money you need to generate to live that lifestyle. The very next step. Choose how you'll fund your retirement. All right, let me explain that. Traditional retirement is based on making retirement withdrawals. It's based on working for decades, save, cut your expenses when you're 65, retire, and then withdraw part of your money, spend it, in other words, to pay for your lifestyle. And in addition to Social Security, that's how you live. There's another way to do that, and that is number 2, and that is create income streams. When you create income streams, you can either delay your retirement withdrawals or you can significantly reduce your retirement withdrawals so that you can have more money and or let your wealth accumulate and or live the lifestyle that you want. You can also do 3, a combination of withdrawals and or income streams. So I know about this because this is what we did when we said after we stumbled into early retirement, we're really too young to retire, but we better figure out a way to pay for our lifestyle, and we ended up creating income streams, alternative income streams. So we feel like at one point when we're older and we don't want to do this anymore, which we do enjoy doing, like I said right now, it's pretty fun. But later we may not want to do this when we're 85. So at that point we can withdraw our money. Now some people say, you know, live for today, blah, blah, blah. I'll get in my comments, oh, you can't take it with you. Well, that's right. But you know what? To run out of money when you're 85, I'd rather have the income streams. Plus, you learn a lot and it's pretty fun and it keeps your brain fresh and young. All right, so the very next step, so let me back up. So you've seen how much you spend now. You figured out how you want to adjust that to live how you want, okay? And then what we're getting to is how much money you need to save. These are the steps because it's not a set formula that works for everybody. It's not a cookie cutter number that works for everybody. It's what you want. Okay, so you're going to look at your lifestyle. You're going to see how much you're spending now. You're going to adjust that number. Then you're going to decide, when I'm no longer working, do I want to withdraw my money or do I want to have income streams? Because determining that will determine how much money you need to have to support yourself when you retire. And that is what we're really trying to get at when we're looking at how much money should I have saved, right? All right, so the very next step is to look at how much you'll have in retirement withdrawals if you chose to take that method, okay, in the last step. All right, so let's say, for example, you've accumulated $500,000 and the typical amount that is used for a withdrawal is 4%. Now that's based on a dated study. That's a whole other video that I could talk about, but we're just going to use 4% for simplicity because it's very popular and a lot of people plan on 4% for retirement withdrawals. So if we plan on that, the math on that comes out to about $1,667 a month. So that's if you're planning on making retirement withdrawals to live. So then you need to look at that and you need to compare that to how much money you need to live the life you want with any other income streams added in, like Social Security, for example, if you're a U.S. citizen. Now, if you're younger and you have a couple of decades to save money, then what I would do is take the amount of money you have now and look at how much you think that money will compound to by the time that you want to retire in a decade or 2 or 3 or however long it is. You can go to my website, retiresurgeon.com. I have a calculator where you can do this. So you'll just put in how much money you've saved and how much money you expect to earn on your savings, how much money you'll save, and you can see how much it will be worth in the future. Be realistic about how much you think your portfolio will earn. Don't just use what it's done in the last 10 years if it's been a solid bull market. Look longer term, and if you're invested in stocks and bonds, consider your overall portfolio and how much it will realistically return for you and in the future. And I know that's really, really hard. I've got another video on this that you can watch, but be realistic. I'd rather estimate really low and get sort of motivated to create more wealth, I should say, or income streams, than to overestimate and run out of money. Right? Okay, so then when you get that amount, what you can do is take 4%, that retirement withdrawal amount, of the future value of your earnings. And this is the core of retirement planning right here, is projecting how much your money will be worth based on how much you think you'll earn, which is sort of unknown, and looking at how much you can withdraw, how much that will provide if you withdraw about 4% a year to live. That's the core of traditional retirement planning. That's how you come up with that number of how much money you needed to have saved by any given age. But what we found is there's a different way to do this, and that involves creating income streams, and that's because, well, most people haven't saved enough money to live how they want in retirement, and because interest rates are now so incredibly, incredibly low. Okay, so now we're going to backtrack just a little bit. And remember, I had said in step 3, you were going to decide if you wanted to live off withdrawals from your retirement, or if you wanted to create some sort of probably alternative income streams or slightly alternative income streams, even a little bit higher yielding dividends, for example, I like to call slightly alternative income streams. Okay, so you decided if you wanted to make the standard retirement withdrawal 4% or do something a little more alternative, create an income stream or two, or if you wanted a combination of the two. So let's go back. We just looked at what would happen if you did the retirement withdrawal. You look at the value of your savings. Now we're going to look at how much you could generate if you had income streams. Okay, stay with me, because we're veering away from the traditional method that everybody assumes is the way to do it into something that works if the traditional method doesn't work, or you want to do something a little bit different, or you want to have a little bit more, or you want a little bit nicer lifestyle than you thought maybe you would have to live in retirement. All right, so that you can see how much money that you need to save in order to live how you want. All right, so let's go back to income streams. All right, so in this case, you're going to say, how much capital would I use to generate income streams? So if you have, $1 million, $2 million to generate income streams, $3 million, no problem, all right? If you have no capital to generate income streams, then you'll have to look at things that generate income without using capital. There are plenty of both, and I write about this. This is the core of what my Ultimate Rise Wealth Plan is about. Creating these income streams as well as investing, but creating income streams that are diversified, that either require the amount of capital that you wish to use in creating income streams, because some people don't want to allocate capital outside of stocks and bonds, for example. All right, or they don't have the money to do that. All right, so what you'll do is you'll look at how much capital you want to use, and then you'll look at various ways to generate income streams and how much yield those different investments generate. For example, stocks and bonds, the S&P 500, as I may have mentioned, generate about 1.6, 1.7% as of this recording. That's not very much, right? That's just above inflation. Bonds, very, very low now. Maybe 1%, maybe 2% if you go out. There aren't a lot of bonds that generate much now. All right, another type of investment that's more alternative is real estate. That can generate, 5%, 10%. There's so many variables, and that's looked at a little bit differently. But I would say conservatively, with some financing, 10%, something like that, I think would be very realistic when purchased correctly. So there are many different types of investments. Yields vary. Higher yielding stocks, something like AT&T yields over 6%. So 5%, 6% for a higher yielding stock portfolio that either you put together or you hire someone that specializes in this to put together for you. So look at what you think you can generate. And then when take that amount of capital and multiply it by that yield for that particular type of investment you're going to make. And then that will show you how much income you get, and you can compare that to that lifestyle number, that number that you came up with, the income number that you need to live how you want at a specific time. So all this is, it's going away from just saying how much do I need to have saved by a certain age, because the problem with that is that saying you're going to follow a set plan that everyone else is using. This is saying, what do you want in your life, and presenting some alternatives and some options for having it that you may have not otherwise thought about. It's taking you away from that cookie cutter, one thing works for everybody. You need to have this much money by the time you're 50 years old, or 40 years old, or whatever it is. And it's looking at it in a different way. It's empowering you, and it's putting you in the driver's seat to create your own financial future. That is what this is about. That's what this channel is about. That's what I write about at Retire Certain. I'll see you there. And if you'd like this video, make sure you watch this one next.